Happy Monday, folks. Welcome back to the Habs channel. This is our weekly round with Damon and Marco. Boys, thank you so much for being here. What an insane week for the Habs. Just to give you guys a preview, this is what we're going to go through today. If you want to stick around, we're going to talk about the kids and how they are all right. Harris and Barron make their Habs debut. We also have what is goaltender interference? Even Brandon Gallagher doesn't know. We're going to have a big topic on this. Cole Caufield speaks French now. And the Chantal Machabee effect. Chantal has been wonderful. Lots to talk about this. Damon has a pretty good segment on nice guys finish last, the tight race for the draft pick that's coming up soon. And we're gonna leak our next guest, which is gonna be released tonight at 7 p.m. So, boys, let's start with the boys. The kids are all right. Let's talk with today's signing. Damon, you want to launch us with what the first move that Habs made this morning?
Yeah, Emil Heineman, definitely a great signing for us. He's definitely going to be a good player for us in the future. And we also signed him to a PTO for the rest of the season. So he will be a part of Laval's team for the rest of the season and hopefully for the playoff run we have in Laval. So definitely a good signing. And I see him being a really good bottom six forward for us. And it's going to be great for us. And I really like what we have here in Emil Heineman.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, I was really happy when I saw the Heineman sign just because I think that this guy has a lot of potential. And I was really happy when we initially got him in the Toffoli trade. I mean, you just look at a couple of his highlights, you could see that he does have that speedy upside, which obviously is a huge benefit. I mean, we got guys on our team like Anderson who are known for that, but to kind of have like eventually later down the line some sort of supporting role in that will be really cool. And this guy could also shoot the puck really well, very quickly. He's very efficient when it comes to either close, medium range. So obviously this guy's got a good 1T or even a good wrister. So it's good to have that sort of speed and scoring combo, obviously. So yeah, I'm very happy with the signing too. And it's good that we got also Jordan Harris locked up and also Josh Roy, because that guy right now, he's tearing up the queue. And I'm very, very excited to see that guy make his debut eventually, whenever that is. So yeah, the kids are definitely looking all right, and I'm very happy with the pool prospects that we got going on.
So with Joshua Roy that signed recently, do you guys think that maybe we can get a preview of him by the end of the season? Would it be cool to have him maybe get a taste of the NHL and then see what he can bring for training camp?
For a while right now, what I'd like to see him do is I'd like to see him stick with the Sherbrooke Phoenix right now, because he's playing really well in Sherbrooke, and I don't know if I want him to take that taste of the NHL yet, because I don't know if he's ready for it. He did play well in those scrimmages that
Yeah.
happened in the beginning of the season with the AHL players and the NHL players. I know Shane was at that game, so definitely Shane got the
Right.
perfect ice level views. So I wouldn't want to give it to him yet, but I definitely think that maybe next season, if he plays well enough in training camp, he could earn himself that 9-game trial. But I think in 2 or 3 years, he could look NHL ready, because he's actually statistically on a similar trajectory to Alexis Lafreniere. I'm not trying to overhype him, make him think that people think that he's the next Alexis Lafreniere, but he just is putting very similar numbers to Lafreniere. And even when he's super young, even in his third year, he has just a bit lower numbers than Lafreniere. So I just think he needs that more, just a bit more development. So I think that'll really help him out if he gets it, and he'll be really good in the NHL one day. But he just got to stick down there with the Sherbrooke Phoenix.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Damon. I think that he finishes the year in the queue. He's having a tremendous season there. Like I said,
Mhm.
he's probably going to get over 100 points right now. So, I mean, might as well keep that sort of confidence going with him. And then you go into training camp in the summer and then you try to prove yourself. Then I wouldn't really take him out of a good spot right now to kind of, I guess, force an opportunity in NHL right now. There's no need for the rush. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it later. The nice guys finish last, the race for the bottom
Yeah.
positions. We're not really in the spot where we need to be like competitive, and we're good with the guys we have. And we have enough young stars that we just mentioned before, like Harris, Barron, and eventually, we have all those guys there, so it'll be good. They will have their chance right now, so there's no need to really force Roy into the picture right away. Let him finish off the great season he's having in the queue, and then we'll see what he brings in training camp.
No, fully agree. Great point. Let's talk about Harris and Barron that made their Habs debut this past week. So first of all, Barron, that has now played 6 NHL games, has been getting a lot of criticism online that he's just not ready. Guys, it's 6 games. I mean, he just turned 20 years old too. So he's going to develop into an incredible player. He's just getting the feel for it now. And as for Harris, he skates like a beautiful angel. I don't know what it is, but this guy strides perfectly. Damon, talk to us about what you've noticed in both Harris and Barron's plays, especially Harris when it came to his little incident in Tampa Bay this weekend.
Yeah, so far, I'm gonna admit this. I only saw half the game against Tampa, but from what I did see about Harris, he played really well, especially in that 3-on-3 overtime. And itself, surviving in a 3-on-3 overtime against Tampa is itself a W in itself, as I'm sure we know Drew Deeks covered that in his post game. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he did really well in the overtime, skated so smoothly, and he always found the right paths. And he played really well. We of course know about that incident, helmet knocked off, Hoffman telling him go to the bench, but he didn't, and then he went to the box. But definitely just a rookie mistake, and I
Rookie.
think he'll learn from it. And then, of course, Barron. Barron, in my opinion, I definitely think that it could be an incident of just coming across a new coach in St. Louis. We do know is very different than most coaches because of his more structure and concept system compared to just coaches' strict systems. So I
Yeah.
definitely think it just could be a bit of an adjustment to a different playing style for Barron, but I think Barron next season might or at the end of the season, once more guys such as Clegg get healthier, I think Barron can maybe join the team in Laval and get top pair minutes, and hopefully be a part of the Laval run as well.
Yeah, me too. I was only able to catch the first period for the Tampa game, but from what I saw from Harris, I was very impressed by his skating. Like you said, Nick replicates an angel on the ice. And because of his shorter sort of build compared to Barron, who I believe is like 6'1", 195 or something close to that, where Harris is about 5'11" and weighs a little bit less. Obviously, he does have that sort of speed advantage over him. So therefore his movement is a little bit more fluid, I guess you could say. I think that both of these defensemen provide some really good offensive upside, and it's good to see Barron getting power play one opportunities. And I mean, it's only 6 games in right now. I mean, we're not expecting this guy to be a superstar right at the beginning of the season, right? He's gonna need to develop a little bit, and the points will come. So right now we're at a position where we're just gonna try out the new guys there. We have everybody doing well. Even Yolonen, I'm glad to see him back with the
Yeah.
Habs. That guy was really good, even at the beginning of the season, and especially right now, he's just showing again that this guy could be a nice depth piece in the future. But yeah, Barron compared to Harris, a little bit, since he's a little bit taller, he's like not quite as fluid with his motions, but that's just who he is. But he's good. He's good when it comes to the physicality portion.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of taken to school by Stamkos, where on that play there on the first goal, I believe he kind of just like pushed off him. But again, it's a learning experience, just like the helmet incident with Harris. I mean, you're a rookie, you got your first game, little jitters, you want to be out there in the play, but you're going to make mistakes. And these are just learning opportunities for both these young guys. And they have immense talent and immense upside. And I predict that by the end of the year, we'll see a lot more points coming out of them, and they'll really prove like a little nice little teaser what they could bring for the future. But yeah, the future's bright. I'm not really worried about the SoStar right now. It is only 6 games for Barron, 1 game for Harris. So the
Yeah.
time will come, points will come.
It's the perfect experience right now for them to get the feel for it. And Damon, I like what you said about maybe Barron, just maybe he needs some minutes down in the A too, like it's no rush. Let's not rush these guys. We've got a lot of depth coming from defense right now too. We've got a lot of we have this graphic here we keep showing. We got a lot of prospects that are coming up. We've got Heinamen that's playing some insane hockey right now for a guy that wasn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
drafted. So I'm not too worried when it comes to defense. Let the guys have fun. But I think the important key here is that Martin St. Louis trusted both of these guys to play in overtime, which is something that in the old regime, we're going to talk about regime and culture a little bit later here, we weren't seeing. These guys would have been benched for at least the first 5 years of their career when it came to overtime. And right now, they're
Yeah.
getting minutes. And like you said, Damon, they're surviving against Tampa, which is a big W for this team. So not worried for the kids. What does worry me, though, is goaltender interference, because what is
Oh
it?
boy.
Even our boy Brendan Gallagher had some comments of what the hell is goaltender interference. He would know. Um, Also, if you didn't get your shirt, get your Gallagher shirt in our merch, habstonight.net. It is perfect for every single game because we get Gallagher every single week. Um,
Seems like it.
Yeah.
it's incredible how we don't know what it is. Damon, I'm going to let you comment on what you thought of Sorelli's play. Is it goaltender interference? Is it not? What were your thoughts?
To me, that Sorelli play, like I've spoken to people who have officiated at more of the competitive and junior A and junior B levels, and they told me like 10 out of 10 times that's goal interference. And the fact that at the NHL level they're getting it wrong, and then at the, I'm just gonna say this, at that junior A and junior B level, they seem to be getting it more correct. I don't want to like
Yeah.
spark any controversy, but something has to change, and some people have to go, to put it nicely. And that was very
Yeah,
much goal
That's
interference. He like falls into him, pushes the pad back. Like I remembered a few years ago when Carey Price, remembered he made a really nice save, and then remember JT Miller used his skate, pulled Carey Price out of the net with his pad, and then Adam
yeah.
Clendenning scored on that empty net, and they said, "Oh, no goalie interference." It's like my mind is just like I just lose brain cells every time I look at the goalie interference because NHL referees don't know what they're doing, and when it comes to this, and there needs to be a lot more consistency. And we all know what happened with Alan Walsh's tweet, and Gary Bettman at his presser said, "Oh, there's people are overblowing the referee. Thinks the referees are the best in all sports." So many other sports have better officiating, to put it nicely. Like soccer, they have VAR. They usually go and check it and they correct it. Like the other day, I was watching a Chelsea Tottenham game, and Tottenham nearly had 3 penalty kicks, which should have easily been goals, but VAR checked them and they confirmed that they weren't penalty kicks. And yeah, if we had more consistency like that, the hockey would be much more watchable just to the general sports fan.
for sure. And
Marco, I just, sorry, two
yeah,
seconds. I just wanted you to touch also on, let's compare this. Well, I mean, it's not really comparison, but let's just bring in the fact that a couple of games ago, Toronto got a revision for an alleged tripping that was called back. So if we're able to revise penalties like this and make judgments, shouldn't we be able to, like, what's the difference? What's the consistency here? Like, do you see a change coming? Like, what are your thoughts on this too?
well, to answer your question about the consistency, I think it's easy to say that there isn't any whatsoever. And it's funny enough that the revision came in a Toronto game for Toronto. So, I mean, I'm not saying that there's bias, but I'm not saying that there's not bias either. But no, I mean, I definitely think that you should be able to do some sort of revision, or if the refs get a call wrong initially, I mean, that's what replays are for. But I don't think that we see calls overturned nearly as much as they should. I think that
Yeah.
soccer does this really good with VAR, and there is a lot of crucial points that are overturned because they are the right call. I just feel like in AHL, there's a big lack of inconsistency when it comes to that. And I just
Mhm.
feel like most of the time the refs just stick with their gut, which obviously we can see what instances like what happened in the Habs game, along with many, many, many others, that is just not the right call at the end of the day. And going back to the play initially, I know that things happen very quickly in this sport, and I didn't think it was interference at first, but obviously when you look at the replay, I mean, that puck, that's a great graphic there, by the way. That puck is going wide initially, and then it's Sorelli who pushes Allen's pad into the net, and
First.
with his, and yeah, exactly, and then with his skate pushing the puck towards his direction, and then eventually in the net. So if Sorelli isn't doing that interference motion, then that puck is just gonna hit the end boards on the other side. That puck's not going towards Allen, and I mean, it's not like Sorelli's tipping it either, and you could clearly see his stick pushing him in the net. If that's not goaltender interference, and I really don't know what is. And it's not even the fact that I'm shocked that this happens, because this happens so many times, especially as a Habs fans. We have the pleasure of seeing this happen to our team over and over again, getting constantly Gallaghered, and Gallagher's tweet over there that you brought up just sums it up perfectly. I mean, completely clueless. I don't know what this is, and I'm sure that the refs are going to get chirped for this later down the road. But yeah, just completely embarrassing for the NHL, in my opinion. And I really do find it hilarious that Bedman says that these have the best refs in sports, because that's 100% false. It's a close tie between the worst refs in sports between them and the NBA, in my opinion.
It's, yeah, that's the scary part, is that the NHL and anybody in the higher ups don't see an issue with this. And I don't agree very often with Toronto, but when Kyle Dubas steps up and starts laughing flat out in an interview and goes, everything's fine. It says a lot. And the NHL flat out says anybody who questions us basically will be fined. So I don't know. At this point, I'm just accumulating my money and I'm going to get my money's worth out of it if I'm going to comment on it.
I mean,
But
there was a reason why they did bring it up in the GM's meeting, right? I mean, this was a
yeah,
hot topic. All the teams have kind of been fed up, I'm sure, that Hughes more than anybody else was. But I mean, the fact that it's brought up as a hot topic in the GM's meeting, it shows that it's
says
an
a lot.
issue for not just us, but other teams, and it's happening often enough that they have to go over this, which I mean, it shouldn't be the case. And if there's the NHL and Bettman, they should just look at this as positive criticism, in my opinion. Take a look at it, be like, okay, where can we improve? But I feel like whenever the sort of officiating point gets brought up, they just shut it down immediately. They're like, oh, well, it doesn't need to change. We got the best refs. It's just, I don't know. There's a huge lack of acknowledgement, in my point of view, when it comes to officiating. Hopefully, we see this change in the future, but I doubt that it will. If I'm being honest.
It's a dinosaur culture, let's put it that way.
If it's a new commissioner,
Um,
maybe.
yeah, well, that's the thing, right? The owners are going to have to step up at some point and vote this guy out. That's the only solution. But heck, that's another topic for another day. We all know it's a crap show, and yeah.
It's
But
gonna happen again. Don't worry.
oh yeah, it's not the end of it. But on a more positive note, let's talk about Cole Caufield because he's been a different beast since Martin St. Louis arrived. He is now the rookie of the month in the NHL, which we all knew he was. You got Rem Pitlick that came in second. Um, Great month for the kids. Uh, Cole Caufield was mic'd up for that Tampa game, and I believe Cole Caufield should be mic'd up for every single game because he is a pleasure to listen to. And we're going to touch on the Chantal Effect right after this. But what did you guys think of Cole Caufield during that Tampa game and his incredible goal that he scored?
He looked really good. He looked like he was on a revenge tour from last year's Stanley Cup Finals. So, just
Yeah,
a great game entirely. And we also that 2-0 with the Rem Pitlick perfectly played. But we of course know that Cole's a shooter, and Brian Elliott thought that he might pass it because Cole we know is very unselfish with the puck, and Cole
yeah,
sold the pass on that play and then just shot it last second top corner. So Cole, in my opinion, played really well all around. And we also know about John Cooper's matchup, which hurt us last year in the playoffs, where he'd match up the top line against Cole, Suzuki, and Toffoli's line last year in the playoffs. And they did the same thing here against Suzuki, Pitlick, and Caufield's line. So,
yeah.
yeah, they played a really good job. And also, Cole, in my opinion, improved his game a lot defensively from what I saw. Like, he was getting loose pucks in the defensive zone, and he played really well last game. And he was one of our best players.
Yeah, well deserved that he's rookie of the month. He should also be rookie of the year, but I guess we got Dom Ducharme to thank for that. But yeah, just under Martin St. Louis, we've kind of seen the chains come off his back in a way. I don't know what it was, but he wasn't getting the freedom to really play the way that he could, the most impactful style of play that he could bring to the team. And I feel like when St. Louis came in, he saw what position the team was in. He saw that it wasn't the wins that they needed, but it was more the morale and the confidence and to just let the players do their thing. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what we've been seeing from Cole. I think he's been the greatest sort of example of the St. Louis effect. And against Tampa, it was just another stellar performance. And yeah, I agree. He should be mic'd up every game. This guy is just hilarious, just brings in the laughs. Just the positivity with this guy is unreal. And just whenever the guy smiles, it just brings smiles to all of our face too. It's such a contagious one. So yeah, I mean, I love the energy that Cole brings. I love what we've been seeing from him ever since St. Louis. And yeah, he should be rookie of the year, but he'll definitely have some really, really good seasons going down the line. So at least we could be excited for that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it that Cole Caufield is the stud we all thought he was. But great cue up, Marco. It's bringing us into the Chantal effect because there's an interview released this week that Chantal spoke with Cole and she told him, just be yourself, show your personality, go have fun. And he flat out said that in the past, he wasn't allowed to do that. So it sparked up a few, I guess, controversies of how bad was the last regiment of the Montreal Canadiens. The culture was so negative. What seemed to be positive was actually more negative than we thought. So let's touch on what Chantal is bringing. And even today, we have our first team photo released for the end of the year with the boys here. Our little boy Cole looks a little bit lost in the middle here, but they're having fun. And for the first time, the media was actually invited to join in the bowl for team picture day. So let's talk about the culture that Chantal is establishing with this group right now and how it's benefiting us.
I love everything Chantal's done for the team so far. I feel that as fans, we've gotten a lot more transparency with everything, and
Mhm.
the culture seems to be much better in Montreal. We seem to be having fun, and also the players are having a lot more fun as well. So it's definitely been great, and also just the fact that like we told that Cole was told to sort of be bland from what I heard in the interview. Like that just bothers me because Cole is a young kid joining the team, smiling, and I literally saw Bar Down post a photo comparing him to Tom Holland's Spider Man. So yeah, I did see it, but then as the
Yeah.
beginning of the this season came around, he didn't seem to be smiling as much, and ever since the coaching change, he was just more happy. And happy Cole equals happy Habs and better world and better universe. So
Yeah.
yeah,
100%, yeah, and I just think that ever since Chantal was introduced into the system, there's been a lot more transparency, a lot more involvement, and we see this with the team, with the media just being involved in the team photos as well. I mean, it just shows that everything's more kind of like an invitational, open experience, and it's just a lot more enjoyable for everybody. I feel like in the past, in the Bergevin era, there's kind of like this sort of like boomer mentality, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
but there's I don't know. It's just I don't think that people in interviews should ever be sort of like caged in for who they really are. I know that in certain settings, when it comes to media, especially when you represent a top organization that sees a lot of eyes, you do need to channel certain things. But I mean, to reflect who you are as a person, I mean, just like when it comes to like cracking jokes, smiling, just being who you are. I mean, I don't see any particular reason in channeling that. So
Yeah.
I'm just really happy that Chantel's letting Cole be the fun Cole that he is, making jokes, dancing, moving around, just being who he is. And this is something that we should be seeing from everybody, not just with the Habs, but in other teams too. And I know that this is a hot topic also with Lexi Lafreniere too, who's wasn't even allowed to speak French in to a French reporter in his native language, which to me is just mind blowing. But yeah, I hope that the Chantal effect could really replicate sort of like go to these other teams as well. And yeah, I'm just really happy that with the change that she's bringing, the positive change to our organization.
Yeah, I think that's the incredible part is that she turns around and says, "This is what I'm going to change," and within a week, boom, you saw a change. It's not something that took a season to see a difference. You saw the change right away, and you can kind of see in the fans as well. We're in the last place, which is going to cue up our last statement here. We're in last place, and we've got the fans at the Bell Center doing the wave. This Bell Center is packed. The fans are having fun. You can tell the boys are having fun. It's just a different mentality, a different culture. And we're so proud to have that. So, Chantal, if you're listening, thank you so much for what you're bringing to the team and for us fans. Like we're happy to watch these boys have fun again, and it's going to cue up the seasons that are coming. It's going to be great. Um,
Yep.
our last statement for the day is going to be nice guys finish last. As we know, the race for the draft is pretty tight. Last night, the Coyotes, the Sens, and the Kraken did us all a favor by getting a few points. We are tied with Arizona right now. We're in last place. Damon, bring us through what you think is going to happen for the last few games, as well as the picks for the draft that are constantly changing. Shane Wright doesn't seem to be first at sometimes. He's second, he's third. What do you think is going to happen when it comes to draft day?
for draft day, I definitely think it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I definitely think this is still Shane Wright's draft, but I think it's closer than a lot of people think, in my opinion. I think him and Matthew Savoie definitely have a much closer battle for first overall in the draft place because those two, they're both very talented players, but Shane Wright's defense is better, in my opinion, but Matthew Savoie's offense is a bit better, as Matthew Savoie, last time I checked, is a league leader in the WHL for points. And also just watching him, he's so fluid out there. He skates really well, and I definitely think if it comes down to it, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we chose Savoie over Wright because I think Savoie is a bit better of a fit because Savoie is a bit more of a more offensive minded center. Well, Shane Wright's very similar to Nick Suzuki in my opinion, so I definitely think it's going to be a very interesting one. But in my opinion, for draft day, I still think the draft should, in my opinion, should go 1, 2, 3 between Shane Wright, Savoie, and Lambert. And then I think Slakowski is up there, Logan Cooley's up there, and then Simon Nemec. But Ivan Marchenko out of Russia, he got a season-ending injury, so he could drop and could be a steal for many teams. So it's definitely going to be an interesting draft, and there's still going to be a lot to look forward to. But I still can't believe it's going to be in July, the draft, and in Montreal with fans finally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
going to be
definitely
pretty
gonna
insane.
definitely gonna try to book my ticket for that for the draft.
No, me
That's
too.
something I've never been to. I'm looking forward to experiencing in Montreal. I mean, might as well, right?
The
But
Habs tonight crew there.
yeah, for sure, 100%. But it is really a very, very close race for last place. So I guess you could say like we're tied with Arizona, and I think we're like 1 or 2 points behind Seattle. So I think those three teams coming in, they're going to be in a tight battle at the end of the season for last place. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's not like the NFL. If you finish last, you get first overall automatically. There is a lottery, so even if we do tank all the
It
way
would
to
be our
last
luck.
place, it might not be our luck exactly, or it might be in our favor too, where we ended up getting third overall when we weren't necessarily in a position to be getting that. We kind of moved
Yeah.
up in that draft, but yeah, there's a lot of good prospects coming up, and there's a good sort of pool over there. So I'm not really concerned who we take, and I have full trust in Gordon and Hughes and the
Yeah.
scouting that we have going on, who have had very successful drafts. Like Gordon with obviously with the Rangers is a prime example there, and also with the Bruins. So I definitely think that he'll bring in some good positive insight. I'm not really worried with him like I kind of was with Bergevin. I'm not going to really second guess their judgment when it comes to their decisions. And even though it might be kind of like, let's say, a sleeper pick in the draft with whoever we might end up taking, I definitely have faith in their judgment, and that I think that those guys with proper development should turn into some really impactful players going down the line. So yeah, not worried about the players or where we end up, because most likely we will be in a good spot in the draft, most likely in the top 5 somewhere. And obviously, as long as you don't bottle that and you don't mess that up, then we're going to be in a good spot for the future. And we got a lot of other draft capital. We got a lot of picks with the trades we've been making. So if not in the first round, we could also get a good few sleepers in the later rounds. And like I said, I have full trust in the Gordon Hughes combo and the scouting with the Canadians. So yeah, I'm just very excited to see who we end up taking in the draft, and then we could dive into that later in the summer. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for that, and I got a full confidence in the organization for the future.
Yeah, I think you said it well. It's the first time that most fans do have confidence in the management and the front office to do the right choice. It hasn't happened a lot in the past. We know our history when it comes to the first round. It's not good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But tonight, let's tease. We have our next guest that's going to be coming on. It is Dan Robertson from TSN 690. He's going to be joining Drew Deeks and our very own Brandon Legacy that's going to be back on the show after being absent for a long period of time here. So we're excited to have Brando back, and we're excited to see what Dan Robertson has to say. It's going to be a great interview, you guys. So make sure you check it out. It's going to be released at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, it's just going to be great. So pumped to have Dan and to hear what he has to say. As for that, we have the Ottawa Senators tomorrow in Montreal, I believe.
In
I'm not
Montreal,
mistaken.
yes.
In Montreal. So it's going to be great to have the boys back home. Going to be another exciting game. It's going to be a tight game for sure. We know Ottawa's going to give it their all. They're a great team when it comes to the young kids. They got Sanderson too that they just signed. Great team. So that pretty much closes it all up today. Don't forget to check out our website for your merch, habstonight.net. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. My dogs are saying hi, by the way, because it's the only time they bark is when I'm on here. So, boys, thank you so much for joining us today, and hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.